Class of 77 is honored to present this sword display to the current midshipmen of the 30th Company, who have graciously agreed to display it on the wall of their wardroom. One of our classmates, Dave Bear, will say a few short words about Pete and read a letter from Mrs. Ayotte. Another of our classmates, Willie Conway, will say a few short words about Steve, followed by Mr. Lou Burley, Steve's uncle, who will then speak on behalf about Steve on behalf of his family. And finally, the 30th Company Commander, Lieutenant Vasconez, will accept the sword display and mount it on the wall. And that'll conclude the ceremony. So Dave, the floor is yours. Just don't back into those points.
I'll use my indoor or outdoor or whatever voice we got here. So this is thank you all. Come closer, Willie. Again, I'd like to thank 30th Company for having us up here. This is a great moment, and I'm actually impressed to see as many people as we got from 77 30th Company. It's a pretty proud moment for me. I think all of us probably remember the first time we met Pete Ayotte. He scared the crap out of me. Induction day back in 1973. He was the biggest guy in the company. He had his head shaved, and he had this suntan thing down the center of his head because he was a California guy. So he had his hair parted in the middle, down to about here. I think he looked a little bit like, we won't say what. But he had a suntan groove down the center of his head. We thought he was like Frankenstein because he was like huge, and it looked like somebody had put his head back together. So that was the first time I think all of us met Pete, and it was a pretty amazing summer. Corky Gardner just reminded me that he was one of the few guys, if not the only guy, that got to leave plebe summer for a week while he went back and played championship football at his team in Torrance, California. I forgot about that because I probably had other things on my mind plebe summer. So again, I think we all know he has a special meaning for all of us in this room, has extra special meaning for myself and my wife Kathy. If you read my mini bio that I put together at midnight and put on the web last night, you know that Pete actually introduced us, and the only reason we're together is because he asked me to take her out on a date, because when he was leaving Hawaii, he felt she was going to be really sad, so I took her out. There you go. 37 years later, that's where we are. I won't say a whole lot about Pete at the Academy because you guys have the fond memories there. As I said, afterwards we were able to get together a couple times. He went surface warfare. As I said, when I got to Hawaii after sub school, met up with him, and about a month after that he left, and he left me with Kathy, but that's another story. We followed them, and his wife, he met his wife, I guess, I think she was reporting to him, we won't go into that detail, when he was serving in San Diego, and they got married. We were at the wedding. We spent a lot of time together with he and Tracy over the years, and I did get to see him right before he had surgery. He went to surgery for esophageal cancer, unfortunately, about 6 years ago, and complications from surgery did him in. So I was fortunate enough to have a job where I got back and forth to California a number of times, and it seems like I was always there at a sort of a key time. So I saw him before he went to surgery, and I was there for his memorial service at one of the churches in Torrance, California. I was able to say a few words on behalf of the class. I know Don was there at the interment, so I know a lot of us followed Pete through his entire career, and I think we're all pretty much the better for it. So with that, Tracy still lives in Torrance, in the house they've lived in for a bunch of years. They had two sons. I've known them pretty well. One of them was at the Coast Guard Academy for a while. But I'd like to read a letter from her that she sent to me a little while ago. Dear members of 30th Company, Class of 77, my sons and I would like to express our deepest gratitude and appreciation for the tribute you're paying to Pete and Steve today. Words escape me when I try to convey how much the Academy and the lifelong friendships Pete made while he was there meant to him. As you all remember, he was a very talkative man and a true attention seeker. Well, in actuality, he would rather listen very carefully to what anyone else had to say and shine a spotlight on anyone else's accomplishments before his own. Very true. He was the most genuine, caring, dedicated, and devoted officer, father, and husband you could ever know. He had a playful sense of humor and an infectious laugh. His size alone made him a presence, but his kindness and his humility quickly won you over. He spoke so often of his time at the Academy. I know he made some of his closest friendships there and loved sharing stories too numerous to write. Even though he may not have had the chance to see you were all in his thoughts and in his heart. You shared experiences that he treasured and in a large part made him the fine man he became. He is missed more than words can say by me and his sons. We are so very honored that you are paying him this tribute today. He would be the last one to want the attention, but would be so grateful to you all. Again, thank you very much and happy homecoming. Tracy, Robert, and Brian Ayotte. Thank you.
closer. To you guys, 30th Company, bear this thought in mind. Most of us have not been together or seen each other in 40 years. I've never been here before today. And a bunch of old, bald, fat guys walked up to me and said hello. I didn't recognize one of them. And I recognized their voices. The voices of the people you spend all this time with will just echo in your ear. And some dude will walk up to you, and you're like, what? And you hear their voice and you'll know who they are. This is pretty special stuff. Steve came to us here at 30th Company Naval Academy from Magnolia, New Jersey, a part of South Jersey. And before I begin, I really want to pay honor and gratitude to Steve's brother Marty here, who's here with us. Steve's brother Lou, it's not his uncle. Where's Uncle Lou?
I'm sorry.
Right here.
No, I'm sorry. He's right there.
Lou, and especially to Steve's son, Steve. Really, you can't imagine what it's like for us to see you. It's unbelievable to see you. So Steve grew up in Magnolia, New Jersey, and I actually got exposed to Steve about a half a century ago. He was the kid down the block from my Aunt Daddy and Uncle Don that mowed their lawn and shoveled their walk. And Steve was the kid that all the dads in the neighborhood said, I want my kid to be like Steve. And he was the kid in the neighborhood that all the moms said, I want my kid to be like Steve. He was as tough as any of us could ever dream of being. And he was as sweet and kind and true and loyal as all of us wish we had ever been. I got exposed to that at about 12. And growing up in Pennsauken, one of our big rivals was Paul VI High School. They had all these studs in there. And their basketball team, their football team, and their baseball team was all led by the same damn guy, Steve Burley. And I had the good fortune of playing baseball against him. I had the good fortune of being on the bench when they came and played football, or I may never have made it off the Naval Academy. And Steve was a year ahead of most of us from high school. He was a prep school guy, went to Maine military, and then came here. My Uncle Don, my dad was happy that I got to be here. My Uncle Don, who had grown up with you guys growing up, he just couldn't believe that I was going to the same school that Steve Burley went to. He said that was remarkable. And then to discover we're in the same company, he's like, dude, oh, it's like a Tom Brady picture. I was like, you know Tom Brady? I know Tom Brady. It's unbelievable. And a roommate, all the rest of you, you're looking at me, you're feeling, and you're knowing the same thing. He was the guy who everyone aspired to be and to be like. And he was the guy that all the girls wanted to be with. And the girl he was with, that we can talk about, Judy Billings, they all remember Judy and Steve, and Corky was at the wedding, I was at the wedding, I know the brothers were at the wedding. Beautiful, beautiful, wonderful woman. I can only imagine what a wonderful husband Steve was to her, and it is I can't imagine what an amazing dad he would have been had he been with you longer. Just a delightful man, the kind of guys you guys got to aspire to. For most of the rest of us, it's a little late, though we can still remember Steve and remember really a wonderful, positive guy. And I'm just grateful to be here with you, and that you asked me to share those thoughts. So thank you very much.
Yeah, that's an extremely tough act to follow. Thank you so much for those wonderful words. My name's Luke Burley. I'd like to ask my brother Marty and my nephew Steve to join me up here. And for those of you that have made it out to this event, I just want to thank you on behalf of my mom, my dad, my sister-in-law Judy, for keeping his memory alive, for keeping the love alive, and I'll not ever forget what you're doing for our family at this time. Too often, the fallen are not properly remembered. And you being here, you doing this, it really makes a strong statement for what this country's all about and what this institution's all about. And for you young midshipmen, I'm going to give you one bit of advice. Listen to Lieutenant Hyman. You've got a good leader in front of you. And I'll say that from a perspective where when I was here for a short period of time, I didn't listen to all the leaders that are out there and available. Make sure you take advantage of the fine examples that we're honoring today, fine leadership that you have here in the room. For all the colleagues that left the Naval Academy and went on to military career, whether it was 5 years or a lifetime, I want to thank you all for your service to our country. I want to thank you for what you've done for your fellow sailors and Marines and shipmates. And I want to thank you for serving with honor. And I'm standing here today in a situation I never thought I'd be in, but I'm very lucky to have a nephew like Steve. I'm very lucky to have a brother still like Marty, and I'm very happy to have had a brother like Steve in my life. I've been very lucky to have wonderful parents. We are first generation college students, and what a great institution to come to. I went to the Marine Military Academy because of my brother Steve. I came here to the Naval Academy because of my brother Steve. I served for 10.5 years on active duty with the Marines because of my brother Steve. And the steps that you walk, the paths that you have chosen inspire people. And you know, we might be on the back nine, but you still have opportunity to continue to inspire and contribute. And I call on you to do that. And I just want to tell you that it's hard to follow in the footsteps of someone who was so unique. It's hard to follow in the footsteps of someone who meant so much to me and Marty growing up, to our parents as they watched Steve turn into the man that he became. And to get to know his bride, Judy, who carried the torch after Steve was gone, and to this day, I don't know how she did it. But she was a wonderful woman and a wonderful mom, and we lost her too early. But what she was able to do in raising this young man, it speaks for itself. I'm so proud to have a nephew who carries himself like he does, that lives his life like he does, that contributes to our society like he does. And I know today, I know until the day I die, that's because of the parents that he had. And my brother became a midshipman that he was, and he became a Marine that he was because of the way you touched his life. And again, I can't thank you enough from the entire family, and thank you.
Well, I guess we're at the point where the class of '77 would like to present this memorial sword display to current midshipmen, and I'll give this to Midshipman Lieutenant Vasconez, and if you would like to say a few words.
Absolutely.
The floor is all yours.
Absolutely. So I don't know how a hot, sweaty kid with messed up hair is supposed to follow any of that, but I guess I'll try. So I was approached by Mr. Harding over the summer. Said, hey, I went to the Naval Academy. I was in 30th Company, and they're like, oh, that's like a cool coincidence. And he's like, I want to give a lot of money to your wardroom. I said, okay. Okay. And then he said, I also want to commemorate 2 of my classmates that are now fallen. And I said, okay, all right, so this is a little bit more serious, like a little bit of a legacy piece there. This is cool. So then I got to school, came back for reform, and then we were cleaning out the wardroom, and in one of these big boxes, there's like this old dusty book. And I opened it up, and it was the class of 1930's 40th yearbook written in 1970. It had all of the ships named for previous classmates, stuff like that. And then on the inside cover was written just like a short little message. I hope that you, so this is 1930 talking to 1970. I hope you grow to love the Navy, just our Navy, just like we have. So it was kind of at that point, and then listening to these two gentlemen talk, that I realized that this place is truly something bigger than myself, and that this place, its experiences, and everything you take away from it is completely timeless. So this plaque will serve as a reminder for the rest of the year, and for as long as it hangs in that wardroom, that the lessons you learn here and the relationships that you make are the most powerful in your life. So I'd just like to thank Class of 77 and everybody that was able to make it out today for that.
So there's not room for everybody in there when we mount it on the wall, so we can ask the family and the speakers to come in there, and the rest of you, when we get it mounted, if you want to go take a look. But before we do that, if the current midshipman would lead us all in a little navy blue and gold.
Oh, absolutely.
Hands over hearts.
Now colleges from sea to sea may sing of colors true, but who has better right than we to hoist a simple hue? For sailors brave in battle fair, since fighting days of old, have proved the sailors right to wear